everybody, this is the Wikstrand. So, one of the books I read when I was a kid and I really enjoyed was The Witches. And I love the fact how, exposition heavy this was. And somehow I thought that, if they're going to make a movie out of this one, I'll bet they cannot use all these exposition things that they do. I like the exposition, parts of this book. And I can understand why they, scaled down it a little bit, but I still thought that that was a thing that gave the movie its own weird little identity. Now, I actually didn't see the movie that we're gonna take a look at today until 2023, a long time after I read the book the last time. So my memory might not be completely correct, but I actually think that this is a pretty good adaptation. They've changed a thing or two. I'm going to go over which one was good and which one was not good. By the way, the kitchen witch thing I think was pretty damn excellent. Let's take a look at today at the 1990s version of The Witches. So Luke, he loses his parents in a car accident and instead being raised by his grandmother in Norway. And she tells him that there are witches in this world. Witches whose only purpose in life is killing children. That's the only thing they live for. Grandma once ran into one of these witches and, it has traumatized her and, has given her scar for life. Now, at first, Luke thinks that, Granny is off her medicine and stuff like that. But then he finds out that, well, witches actually do exist. And this changes his world forever. But then summer comes and they, spend their summer holiday in this very nice hotel on the English coast. Unfortunately for them, they have also booked the same venue at the same time as a bunch of witches in a grand old witch covenant has booked the same hotel for a big conference. All the England's witches has come here, and they are of course led by the Grand Witch herself, Angelica Houston. We'll come to her in a second. Angelica Houston lays out her plan that she has a plan that is going to eliminate all children in one big swoop, turning them all into mice. And Luke, who overhears this entire plan, is however discovered, and to prove that this plan of hers is actually a fully functional plan and that he will turn into a mouse, she turns Luke into a mouse. But he gets away from them and gets back to Nanny and tells her what's going on, because he can still talk. So can he use his smartness and his small statue to actually, defeat the witches somehow? That's what this movie essentially is about. Now, as I said, The Witches is a curious book when it comes to how it is structured, but on the other hand, it's a very short book, so it lends itself somewhat to adaptation because you don't have to cut that much. And this is, as I said, a pretty good adaptation of the damn thing. They have, of course, cut things here, there, and some of them were okay, and some of them was a little bit more, I didn't like that thing. I liked, the kitchen witch sequence, which I thought was a really creative and fun thing to do. But if we're gonna talk things I hated about this movie, it was the ending. The ending to the book is very unique. I don't think I've ever read anything like it in children's literature, which is why maybe they thought that we have to change the ending of this book, because otherwise the parents are simply going to get too many questions and stuff like that. So I understand why they did it. I just didn't like that they did it. Now, the best thing about The Witches is, of course, Angelica Houston as the Grand Witch. She seems to enjoy the hell out of herself, and her overacting is an absolute joy to watch. Comparing her to Bette Midler in Hocus Pocus, it's almost a, neck and neck who has the best overacting. Maybe Bette Midler is a smidge better. Is it just a coincidence that my two favorite overacting roles that women has done has both been witches? I don't know. This is an entertaining, pretty fast-paced movie with a lot of creativity to it. I have a big fondness to, sequences where people have shrunken down to, small size and they have to interact with mundane, ordinary things that you know, now is a lot bigger, and there is a lot of creativity you can do there, and they did it. I also love the fact how they have shot this movie and how they have edited this movie, because the angles and the fisheye lenses and the close-ups and the editing makes this movie, in parts of it, absolutely insane, to the point where, you know, Jean-Pierre Jeunet would say to them, "Monsieur, tone that down a little bit, it's a bit too silly." That's my very, very good impression of a French director, by the way. I take all the credits for it. But apart from Angelica Houston, we only have Rowan Atkinson playing a, you know, Wish.com version of Mr. Bean, and the rest of the actors in this movie is either okay or not very good. It gives me no pleasure to dogpile on bad child actors. They're kids, so I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt, but I would like to know, if you thought that this kid was the best to play Luke, then who in that case did you, you know, not choose over him? That's a scary thought. He wasn't very good, I'm saddened to say. But this is a very entertaining movie. It's a little bit difficult sometimes to actually figure out what kind of genre they're actually trying to go for. Are they going to try for more of the fantastic, the scary, or the hilarious? It's a bit of a weird mix, and they sometimes doesn't quite get it, but I still think that this is a movie I do recommend. If you've read the book, this is a good adaptation of the source material. They've changed stuff. Some of them were good, some of them were not good, and I really, really did like the ending, but for the most part, it is a rather okay adaptation. I understand why they did what they did, but I cannot excuse everything. And this is, however, a fun, family-friendly movie, even though some smaller children will find some of the imagery in this one quite disturbing, in my opinion. I haven't seen the remake that came out and was then somehow removed from HBO Max, so I'm probably never going to be able to compare the two together, but I'm sure that movie was totally fine. But it's not something I'm going to spend a lot of time chasing down to try to, you know, get my hands on. The Witches is a memorable movie made from a very good book, and if you have never read the book or seen the movie, I would recommend that you would read the book and then see the movie, and then you would say, hey, that was a pretty good adaptation. The Witches is a weird mixture of different genres. Is it a comedy? Is it a fantasy? Is it a horror movie for children? Is it a thriller? It's lots of things, but essentially it is a good movie. I like this movie a lot, even though the ending isn't the best thing, because Angelica Houston is simply too damn entertaining. I give The Witches 62 points. If they could have had the original ending from the book, I think it could have been even better. But still, this is a very, very, very memorable movie. I really recommend this movie. I think it is really good. So I'll see you next time from, well, so-and-so reviewing, well, such and such. Thank you for watching. Thank you very much.